So Don, how's Tom Lynch looking for tomorrow? Has he got a concussion test to pass today, or is he good to go?
No, he passed the concussion test last night, so he sat that and he trained this morning and felt fine, so he's ready to go.
But Jake?
Lever. Yeah, look, with Jake, he's not playing.
How bad is it?
No, it was one of those ones where it's just not worth the risk. I mean, he had some awareness at the end of the game last week, and we've scanned it, and there's something really minor there, but it's he was up running pretty well, full speed, and we expect that he'll run tomorrow and he'll train Monday next week and should be ready to go next week.
Just an issue from out of the back end of last week's game?
Yeah, he just had a bit of awareness at the end of the game last week and reported that, and given his history, the decision was taken. We don't push him for this week. We'll take a no-risk policy on him, get him ready for next week, which we think he'll be in that space, which is good.
Does Lynch have any more tests?
Same one that was...
Yeah, it's the same one he had before, yeah.
Does Lynch have any more tests to pass now, or is he done?
Nah, look, it'll only be if he was to wake up tomorrow and not feel right. We'll have a conversation with him, but there's no more test for him to pass per se. It's just a matter of his headspace, and as I said, he's in a really good headspace. He's keen to play and feels great, so I expect he'll play tomorrow night.
And Riley Knight was the other one, I think, a bit of a glute.
Yeah, he got a bit of a cork in the glute, which didn't really free up for us early in the week. And again, it was one of those ones where we couldn't get him up and running quite quick enough, and he should be fine for next week.
How close is Hugh Greenwood? I mean, I know he's named it as an emergency, and you've upgraded him. Do you expect he'll be playing senior football within the next couple of weeks?
Well, look, we upgraded him on the basis of the form he's had in the SANFL, and he's probably been our standout, most consistent player in the SANFL. And the conversation was, well, if we want to play him, we've got to have him on the list. So we put him on the list, which is great for Hugh. He's done a lot of work since he's joined the club, and that's sort of recognition for that work and the form that he's had. So whether he plays and when he plays, don't know. That's going to be dependent on his form continuing and opportunities in the side.
Is he on standby if Lynchy feels like a bit crook in the morning? And
Well, we don't have a SANFL game this week, so all of our emergencies will just be at the game. But I guess the one benefit of having the bye is we'll have our 3 emergencies there in the case something happens and we need to make a late change. But I don't envisage one at this stage.
What does he bring? Some people haven't seen much of him. He can sort of play a couple of different positions, can't he? Hugh bring?
Yeah, Hugh. He's a big bodied sort of. We've got him as a big bodied, more inside mid. He's really strong around the contest. He's a good tackler, and he can play forward and take a catch as well. So he's really developed for a guy who didn't play footy for nearly 7 years and was pursuing basketball. It's a good story for him to be able to do that, and he's had to change his body shape over the time. He came to us as a basketballer getting up and down the court, and now he's playing on a 180-metre field. So that's been a challenge for him. So it's great for him to be on the list now, which means he's in line for selection at some point, which is great.
Say about the recruiting staff to have plucked someone who's now that far away from being an AFL player out of...
Yeah. Oh, well, he was an underage player before he chose the basketball path, so he had a background in football, so out of Tasmania and things, so it was probably just the adjustment back to playing footy after sort of 8 years of pounding the boards as a basketballer.
Is this the landscape now, Dom? It's like everyone gets their cream in their draft and you can trade him, but it's how to unearth players that, Greenwood could go on and play a handful of games and be really handy players. Is it how you get the most out of the next tier of blokes?
Yeah, look, I think it always is. It's if you like the first 20 or 30 draft picks of you can argue one versus the other, but they in essence pick themselves from a talent viewpoint. The challenge in a lot of ways is to find guys deeper in the draft or outside the draft who have genuine talent as players. They might be in alternate sports, they might be in different backgrounds, and that's the landscape that's now opened up in the last probably 3 or 4 years, and we're seeing it with next generation academies, and the opportunities are going to get wider and wider as that sort of that sphere opens up.
Don, Rory Sloane, do you expect him to get tagged this week after the job that Gibson did on him for North Melbourne?
Oh, that's probably a question for Simon and Melbourne, to be honest. Look, we've got contingencies in place if they do, and that's really, we'll see how the game opens up.
Do you have to help Rory more when he does get tagged to sort of other blokes take over his role, or physically help him out?
Yeah, well, look, I think I've been on record as saying that we don't rely purely on Rory to get it done for us, and that was probably the disappointing part last week. It wasn't just about Rory and his game last week. I think collectively we didn't play the level we wanted to play at, so that's a great challenge for us tomorrow.
Don, do you have to mentally change the preparation at all? I mean, obviously it was a bad first quarter last week. Do you see it as an aberration, or do you have to do something to make sure they're mentally absolutely ready?
I'd probably see it more as an event that happened. as disappointing as it was, we've moved on pretty quickly. We realised that that wasn't the standard we want to play to and how we want to be about it, and we get an opportunity tomorrow night. That's the beauty of our game, is that every week you get another opportunity, and tomorrow gives us another opportunity against a high quality opposition who are in a similar headspace about wanting to get a good start. So I expect it'll be on, and I expect our guys will be right up for the challenge.
From a coaching point of view, from a coaching group point of view, what did you learn last week, say, in that first quarter? Tactically, will you change things if you're in that situation again with the big breeze? Yeah,
I won't go into the details of what we learn. We clearly learn, and that's both us as coaches and the players as well. Probably collectively we learned it does in this competition, as even as it is, if we're just off, and the reality for us, and this is not taking anything away from North Melbourne, who are very good, we were just off in our intensity around the ball, and we paid a big price for that, and that's a good lesson to learn from a coaching viewpoint. There's some things we might have been able to do differently to help the players in that situation, but you always learn. That's the beauty of losses. If you're not learning from your losses, then you're being pretty ignorant.
I guess it'd be a massive focus on starting with intensity tomorrow. After last week, that sort of wasn't there earlier, was it? Well,
that's the players. I think the players are on record this week as saying that's their expectation of each other, and that's how we've started and played our games this year. Is our expectations we come out ready to go. I know the players are really keen. Even as late as this morning, we're talking to them from a team meeting viewpoint, and they're ready to go.
With Jake Lever out, does that mean that Andy Ogden will play more in defence tomorrow night?
Well, there's a possibility Andy goes back, yeah. I mean, obviously he's got that potential. He's sort of been at both ends of the ground this year, so we'll see.
Don, you're virtually untouchable in the first couple of rounds. Do you feel like the loss going forward may give other teams even a bit of hope?
Oh, I don't think, well, that was probably the rhetoric coming from outside. From our viewpoint, we still, as I kept reiterating, we're still working on areas we want to get better at. And this is a tough competition. I think you underestimate last week is a unique time, and I think the only time ever in AFL history the top 5 teams have been beaten. The bottom teams beat the top teams in every game. So the evenness, which I know that myself and the other coaches talk about all the time, is not just a fallacy and a throwaway. That's reality. We're playing in a tough competition, and we understand that we've got to keep getting better, because if we stand still, those teams will come up to us and go past us. And we saw that last week when we were just off. We paid a price.
Have you noticed an improved intensity at training this week after the loss?
Well, training last week was good, so we've trained at the same sort of level. It's again, we're really mindful we're not jumping at shadows. We understand we played some really strong, powerful footy in the first 6 weeks. That got us to a position we're in. Last week wasn't the standard we want to play it. We get another chance tomorrow night.
Can that be a positive for the players then, to know that they are being targeted, they are top of the ladder and leading? So. Well, that's their hunger keeps growing.
That's the reality of sport, isn't it? It's the same with the Bulldogs. Sides who play the Bulldogs now, they set themselves up to play against the Bulldogs because they're the premiers. It's the same against Hawthorn for the previous 3 years. Every side that played Hawthorn saw that they were playing the benchmark. Now, if you want to be any good, you've got to be up for the fact that people are going to challenge you, and that's the challenge of being good. Doesn't matter what sport you play. It could be a tennis player, it could be a golfer, it could be whatever. That's the challenge you face, is to continually get better and stay at a position you want to be at.
So if teams get up to play you, how does the benchmark get up to play other teams?
Well, we retain our intensity and our attitude around how we want to play. So there's 2 components to it. One, there's we've got a challenge here, but we don't accept that, and we're just going to become hunted because we sit where we sit on the ladder. We still play the way we need to play, and we still respect the fact that that's a collective brand of footy we need to be able to individually bring to the table.
So on the midfield, obviously you've got Jacobs in the ruck, there's Pedersen with injuries to Gawn and Spencer, but they still won clearances the past couple of weeks, Melbourne. How big a challenge is that to make sure you can still win that area? Yeah,
look, it is. It presents an opportunity, but also a challenge, as you've highlighted. We've got Sam, who's been in really good form from a ruck viewpoint, but we also come up against a Melbourne midfield, which is I think number 2 in the comp for contested ball, with some strong, real inside mids that work really hard. So we've obviously had a discussion around what that looks like from our midfield's viewpoint. And it's as I say, the opportunities and the challenges just keep presenting, and this is another one.
Sorry, just on Bernie Beez's 200th game, how do you think he'll be received on the weekend?
Oh, look, I mean, obviously Bernie's had history at our footy club, and he's probably a likeable character from the footy club in the past, and I don't expect there to be any negative backlash towards Bernie. I mean, it's a great achievement. 200 games AFL footy for anyone is a significant achievement. So well done to Bernie. Wish him well, and we'll get on with the game.
So just clarifying, do you expect Knight and Lever to be available next week?
Yes.
Yep.